Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting, a vlog podcast thingy, and it is episode 32, so welcome everyone. This is the week of Thanksgiving 2021. Hanukkah and Advent start on this coming Sunday, so happy holidays. Well, I mean, almost time for the holidays. Close enough, I think, for I mean, all the Black Friday sales are already starting to pop up, and holiday music is all throughout the stores. So, sure, why not? Happy holidays. We could all use it, I think. Anyway, today is Monday, November 22nd, 2021. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and seeing what shenanigans I'm up to. And if you are new to this podcast, welcome. I hope you enjoy yourself and stick around for other stuff that's going on. If you do, make sure you hit like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon if you want to be notified of any new content that I upload to you all. Here in Wichita, Kansas, where I'm coming from, it is 46 degrees this evening and a beautiful clear evening. I am loving this fall weather that we are having. Is exactly my favorite time of year and perfect kind of weather for me. So, hey, boy, I've been up to a lot of stuff, been really busy. Last we spoke, or last that I posted anything, was about shawlography. So I'll wrap that up completely and totally today. Boy, I think a lot of people are probably getting quite tired of shawlography for right now. Although it was great fun. So we'll get into some other finished objects that I finally were able to get off the needles. We'll talk about some works in progress that I'm finally getting put back on the needles or casting on. We'll talk about a huge amount of acquisitions, at least for me, a huge amount of acquisitions. And yeah, then a little bit of other yarny stuff that I've been up to. Maybe a little shop news coming up as well. But anyway, that's what we're up to. Oh, and there is a new activity that I am involved with that we'll talk about later as well. So now that you have the precursor, let's just jump right into it. So just to get it out of the way, my first finished object that I'm going to regale you with yet once again, for those of you who may have missed it in the past, the infamous and yet ever so fun shawlography. This was the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along for this past October. It is not a overly large shawl, but still a nice size that will cover a lot of stuff. It's with some really great color play in it. There's slip stitches, there's little, I guess, yarn shrimps, as was coined by Martin of 365 Knits. There's some welts, there's some bobbles, there's a little bit of brioche, and then there's that border that just went on forever. Anyway, lots of fun stitches, lots of beautiful color play. If you've been watching Instagram and Facebook, you've seen various other versions of this shawl heading out there in the world. Yeah, it was a fun knit. It has, the motif kind of has a Southwesty vibe to it, especially with that sort of sun design at the very top. At least that's what many people have said, and actually I really kind of feel it does have a Southwest vibe to it. Anyway, loved it. I knit that using my own yarn from Mount Carmel Yarns. It's a 100% merino fingering. Loved working with those yarns in that project. And yeah, so would I knit shawlography again? My first impression was no, but the more I've thought about it is maybe. Um, Maybe at some point in a few years I might go down that path again with a very different approach to it. I'm actually thinking at some point of approaching it with just a two color approach. Everything just in two colors. I don't know. I don't know if that would work or not. I think it might, and might be quite interesting in that fashion. Almost monochrome, but again, I wouldn't use just black and white, but I think that might be interesting. So if you kept up with me during the whole shawlography business, you may have know that I worked on another shawl in between waiting for clues, and that was Stephen West's The Doodler. So this is from the archives of his, but again, I enjoyed this shawl immensely, and it kept me busy in between clues. This shawl is very reminiscent of the his other shawl. Shoot, the English words escape me today. Dotted rays. There it is. So it reminds me of dotted rays, but in a little bit different from dotted rays. It has this cabled border across the top, and this you then pick up stitches and have this sort of feather and fan business going on the bottom. And then one thing I really enjoyed was this. Oh, can you even see it? There it is. Oh no, I'm showing you the wrong side. Wow. It might help if I actually show you the correct side, because there on that bottom edge is there's this little detail that was just so much fun and adds a little bit of interest to the bottom of the shawl. So this is the correct side, but again, it looks pretty much the same as the other side. But yeah, I enjoyed knitting this. Again, I knit this in my own yarn. This base was a 100% merino non-superwash. I don't dye a lot of non-superwash yet. But anyway, that again was a lovely project to work on, and I love the final result of the Doodler. There are several other of his shawl. I mean, gosh, there are so many of his shawls that I really do want to cast on. I do want to like go back and cast and knit the Slipstravaganza. I did not knit that last year, but I love what I've seen a lot of people's projects, and I really loved the look of it, and so I do want to go back and do that. But he also has some knit-alongs coming up at the end of the year with some shawls that really look stunning, that I really do want to try out. So there will definitely be some more Stephen West patterns coming up in 2022. But we have to get through 2021 and holiday knitting, and I do have a few things that I am planning for holiday knitting. And one of my first holiday knits, and this is not for anyone in particular, but this is the Close to You shawl by Justina Lordkowska. I knit this in Louisa Harding yarns. It's called Amatola, which is an 80% wool, 20% silk base, and the colorway is called Hummingbird. And again, if you've never knit a Close to You shawl, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It is very simple and quick to memorize. It is a great one skein project that knits up relatively quickly, and good television knitting or road knitting if you're someone who travels a lot. Now, while you're driving, of course, it's not quite that simple, but if you're riding along public transit or anything, it's a good sort of mindless knit, but it just looks beautiful when it's finished up. This base is very beautiful, but it is a little splitty. It is a single ply yarn, but the effect is absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed working on that. It's one of those patterns that I come back to over and over again, because I really do enjoy the product of it. And it's, again, a nice, I guess, popcorn, potato chip, sitting around watching TV, watching YouTube shows type of knitting. So it doesn't require a lot of brain power, and it's really, really easy to memorize. So those are my finished objects. Shawls, of course, because I'm deep in my shawl obsession, which is sort of a favorite thing for me to knit. Works in progress. Oh, I didn't bring it over, but I do have a hoe. I do have a hoe. I have a sock completed. The sock that has been pair of socks that have been taking me months and months and months, because I kind of lost my sock mojo. But I did get one of them done. This is in the yarn by Amber Waves of Fiber, which is a local Kansas dyer. This is their simple sock base, and this was a one-of-a-kind batch, which you can see is in purples or in pink and blue. It is, again, a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So, yes, lovely sock. The second one is cast on, and I am working my way through the foot. Maybe about halfway done on the foot, so holiday knitting is going to get in the way of it for a while. But while I was traveling earlier in November, I was able to give it some attention and was able to finish up one of the socks before I left on the trip, so that I could cast on for the second one. And just to prove, oh, actually, I'm not as far on the sock as I had hoped. I thought I was about halfway up the foot, but I'm just barely past the toe. So I've got some work to do there. I will get these done. I cannot guarantee before the end of the year, but they will get done. So those are still going on. The pattern I like to use for my socks is Sockmatician's Toe Up. It's more a recipe than it is a pattern, but it's great for simple socks. The other project I have going on is called, and before I show it off, it's another shawl, and this one is a holiday knit. I am knitting this up for one of my coworkers. I have 3 ladies that I work with, and then of course my boss, who is not a lady, a gentleman. So I'm thinking I'm going to just knit the same pattern for all 3 of the ladies, and then do a cowl for my boss. But I am being kind to myself to some extent. And let me just kind of show this off here. I have cast on the Orbit shawl. And let me see if I can give you a kind of a better view of what that shawl looks like. It's a very, very simple garter stitch with some eyelet bands in DK. So like I said, I'm being kind to myself to be able to finish these, quickly. But what I did was I asked my coworkers while I was at a retreat with them earlier in November. Note, they have all been vaccinated, so we were able to gather together. I asked them for their 2 favorite colors, and then I dyed up some skeins of yarn. The first one I have cast on is from this skein of yarn that I dyed up, her favorite colors were pink and white. So I decided to go with a gradient style colorway in pink with like this deep magenta going into the pinks and a whiter center. So I did a cake dyeing technique so that I got the strong color on the outside and then the lighter color on the inside. And so I am knitting this up. The Orbit shawl is a asymmetrical shawl, so it starts on a corner with one stitch, and then we increase through. And so it's just basically garter stitch with some eyelet holes. And this is how this is knitting up to this point. So I am over here waiting for darker, more strong pink colors to begin showing up. But I really like how this is knitting up. I'm loving the interplay of the almost speckles and splotches of deep pink playing off of the very much lighter pink underneath it. Yeah, so that is on the needles. That is going. This just got cast on today, right after work. So it's knitting up very quickly. So that's a great thing for a holiday knit to be, is fast and beautiful. So there's that colorway. One of my other co-workers, her favorite colors were forest green and teal. So I have this colorway. It's much greener in person. I don't know if backing off will give you more green. Nope, it's just not going to come up with as deep a color green as there. But this is the forest green with the teal. So this will get... Okay, sorry about that. Just a brief phone call I had to attend to. So the third colorway that I did for one of my coworkers is this one. Her favorite colors were purple and orange. And so I did a purple with some orange speckles that kind of, bled a little bit, but that's all right. It's still speckly and still orange. And so that's going to be also a shawl. Now, technically, this was my second attempt because the first attempt was purple with orange, but the orange and the purple mixed together and created sort of a brownish green, which was not particularly pretty. So I overdyed it with even more purple, completely overdying it, turning it into this almost black. But you can see the purples and blues that created sort of greens and grays. And this one I think I'm going to be using for my boss to create a cowl. So I think this is really nice as well. So those are my holiday colors that I have put together for my holiday knits. I am considering this colorway to be something that goes into my shop because I like it that much. I enjoyed dyeing it, and I really like the brightness of the orange with the purple. So this might be going into my shop as a colorway that I carry on. Don't know yet. Maybe. Tell me what you think in the notes in the comments. Let me know if you would want to see this in my shop, and if it was there, if you would buy it. So this one, and of course, if you like this one, which is the forest green and teal, again, it's much deeper in person than it is. Let me try something. No, I don't have any pictures of it where I could easily show. But if you like that one, let me know that as well. And then of course, if you like the gradient, any of these I could repeat. The only one I can't repeat is this one. And of course, I really kind of like this one, although it is, again, much darker in person than it appears on camera. This one's not repeatable. This is a one of a kind. You'll never see it again. But the other ones you could potentially see. Not sure I'm as happy. I mean, I like this, but I don't know that I would ever re-dye this one. At least not this way. Maybe slightly different. Anyway, so the Orbit shawl is what I'm going to be doing for those 3 skeins of yarn. So that's what's going to be going on with those. Okay, what's next? Those are my that's my works in progress technically. But you know me, I'm not going to spend much time on the sock until I get past my Christmas knitting. So let's talk acquisitions. I have been acquiring like mad. Now, last time I recorded, I did share the skeins that I picked up at the Creation Station up in Newton, Kansas, which is the nearest yarn shop to me. Oh, no, there is actually one other. Hold on, I've got to gather it. Sorry about that pause once again. Boy, I'm just not together this week. So I have been doing some various yarn acquiring of late. It appears to be feast or famine for me, whether I actually acquire yarns or not. So earlier this month, at the very beginning of November, my husband and I took a trip up to Kansas City for our anniversary of our having met. We met in Kansas City. It's where I spent 30 years of my life, 15 years of our marriage together, 14 years of our marriage together. Well, okay, maybe 12. Anyway, we lived in Kansas City. That's where we met. That's where we started our life together. Now we live in Wichita. But anyway, we went back up there for our anniversary, went to a yarn shop called Yarn Social in Kansas City. It is a absolutely beautiful and lovely yarn shop. Very wonderful owners and actually lovely patrons as well. I was a little shorter on funds at that moment than I had wanted to be, because I wanted to buy so much there. But I settled on a lovely skein of yarn. This is called Mondine. Is I think the dyer. Yes, it is Mondine, made in Portugal. It is a 100% Portuguese wool in a fingering weight. And you can see this lovely color. Put this over my face and maybe you can see it better. So it's like pinks, well, reddish pinks and purples, and white, very, very speckly, very, very mottled. So yeah, 100 grams is about 421 yards. So it has a nice tight twist to it. Yeah. So yeah, I picked this up at Yarn Social. Oh, it has a cute little logo too. So Mondine, picked that up earlier. Also, when I was in Kansas City, we happened to run by Michael's, the good old standard box store. And I haven't been to a Michael's in forever. And while there, and one of the reasons I don't go to Michael's is because they why they have some very lovely acrylic yarns, which have their wonderful place. I am moving on from those for the most part, but they had these skeins of yarn called from their house brand called Loops and Threads, and they have this cozy wool merino, which is a where is it? Hang on. I was going to show you what it's made of, but I can't find it. Oh, there it is. 55% superwash merino, 45% anti-pilling acrylic. So yeah, so this is just colorway gray, and here is a colorway of driftwood, which again has sort of that same gray in it. They did have a lot of pairings like that, where they had a multicolored sort of self-striping, self-color blocking with a complementary color that was often included in here. So this will make something, but hey, 55% merino wool at Michael's. Who knew? So I had to pick some up because I want to support them when they do things that I think are a good thing. And having more natural fibers in their blend, in their bases, I think is a good thing. So yeah, so I picked up those while I was in Kansas City. Then that was over the weekend, and then the following week, I had a business trip in Chicago to meet all of my coworkers, which I've kind of mentioned a little bit before. And while in Chicago, I found what probably many of you who have ever shopped yarn shops in Chicago already know, a lovely yarn shop called Yarnify. And the proprietors of that shop, or that I met while I was there, are some lovely people. Very welcoming shop, very wonderful selection of local dyers, as well as some basic brands. So I picked up some things. I'll have to say, my husband was very gracious to give me an early Hanukkah gift of buy whatever you want, and within reason. So I did. I bought whatever I wanted within reason. Of course, whatever I really wanted was pretty much, I'll take 2 of everything and just have it shipped. But no, I didn't quite do that. So here's my yarn haul. Let's start with some basics. Some Cascade Heritage Silk, which is an 85% merino wool. Yes, 85% superwash. No, it's just 85% superwash wool, 15% silk. A lovely, this one's called True Blue, which is quite nice. And I thought it would pair nicely with this Cascade Yarns Heritage Silk Peruvian Tonal. And this colorway, it's, I can't remember what it is. It's number 8 on the yarn band, but it's like something like tonal blue or something like that. I don't remember. But it's quite nice. And I thought these two would pair nicely together in some kind of a project. So, yeah. Lovely silk base, or silk blended yarn. Again, most of my buying was not based on, hey, I have this project and I'm going to pair these up with it. No, no, it was pretty much, oh, these look nice together. I'll put them in a project later. So from there, I went to the Malabrigo views and had picked out a couple of Malabrigos. Malabrigo is one of my absolute favorite yarn dyers, mainly because they have these absolute gorgeous colors. This colorway is called Impressionist Sky. The base is their Mechita base. I just said it like same as some kind of Hebrew term. The Mechita base which is a fingering single ply. So you can sort of see the single plies in there. Absolutely gorgeous. So there's that. And to pair with it, I chose the colorway Island, which is this lovely speckled yarn. Just look at that. It almost looks like a Van Gogh painting that has been unraveled. So those two, I think, will pair nicely with each other in a project. More than likely a shawl, because that's what I do. And then finally, I did select some local dyed or locally dyed yarns, or at least I believe they were local to Chicago. The dyer that I purchased yarns of was Stitch Together Studio. And the base that I selected was their smooth sock base. The colorway that I first selected was called Come to Poppy. It is this really pretty pink, orange, pastel colorway. Really like that. Just lovely colors. Again, this is a fingering base 7525 superwash merino nylon blend. So I then went from the pink and orange, pinkish, orangish yellow, well, I guess it is orange, to this colorway, which is called Maybe I'll Catch Fire, which again is these oranges, light orange, dark orange, with these then pops of, look at those pops of like magenta and purple. Really fun colorway. Really enjoy that look. So again, these two I think will pair nicely with each other as a project to do something. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I want to pop something more in this. And so I picked up another skein from this base and the colorway is called Hawkins. And it is definitely sort of a parrot kind of colorway. Lots of oranges and blues and yellows and greens and reds. Very rainbowish, but it kind of makes me think of a parrot more than a rainbow. And I thought these three will be an interesting set to go into a shawl. So you have this darker colorway, a medium colorway, and a very light colorway that will play in different ways with each other in some type of a 3-color shawl. Oof. So with all that, I decided, okay, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and get a project bag from Yarnify. So it's got these cute little rainbow U's, their Yarnify logo, which is based on the Chicago flag, just so you know. Those colors, the light blue and those little reddish pops. And with the project bag, it came with these stitch markers from Stasham Markham's, handcrafted by Leslie Schroeder. Really cute little project keepers. Yes. So with all of this, they signed me up for some points, and because of the level that I purchased, it qualified me for a free mini skein. So I picked up a free mini skein from, again, Stitch Together Yarns. This is their smooth mini, so it's the same base as the other ones. And you see this colorway with the gray, the speckled black, the teal, and the pops of red. This colorway is called Yarnify. It is a signature colorway that was dyed up just for the shop. And again, it looks a lot like their logo. You can sort of see all that there, as well as the flag of Chicago. So those are all my acquisitions. So I'm a little bit poorer in the pocketbook, but so much richer in my stash. And really, isn't that what life is about? You can't take it with you, but you can knit up a lot of it before you go. All right, so speaking of yarns and colorways and yarn shops, were we talking about that? Yeah, I guess we were talking about yarn shops. So there you go. Oh, and so if you are any of the people that I met at Yarnify, thank you so much for the lovely. I think we were there for about an hour or so. Anyway, had a lovely time at that shop. So, Mount Carmel Yarns, not much going on over there. It's been a quiet month and a half over at Mount Carmel Yarns, but I have been trying to put together a couple of new colorways that I'm going to feature in the shop. Some other colorways are going to go away, like my shawlography colors. Those are going to go away because they didn't really sell, so I'm just not going to have those anymore. But instead, I have a couple of colorways that I am coming out with. And let's see if I remember what I am calling these. It's always the case that I die at things and I don't name them and I don't remember. Here we go. So this first one I am going to be calling Prairie Autumn. It has a lot of the same colors that I used in my shawlography, but they're all on one skein of yarn instead. So these will be available on my fingering and my DK base. Really, I really love how these turned out. They're super pretty. So that one's Prairie Autumn. And then this other colorway was inspired by a new project that I have embarked on, and I'll talk more about it later. But was inspired to do this colorway based on an image that was in this new project. And so here it is. It's called Beloved, and it is based. you're gonna think this is kind of funny. Well, maybe you won't. Maybe you won't laugh at all. But anyway, it's based on an image from the movie The Corpse Bride. And if you watch that movie, you know that there's lots of very dark, blues and purples and blacks. And so that image inspired this colorway of blues and purples and blacks. Although there's not a lot of black in it, but there's enough there in the real time. Really like this. It knits up really quite lovely with this kind of colorway. So yes, so Beloved and Prairie Autumn will be available in my shop soon. They're not there yet, but they will be there soon. I will pop back on and let you know when I have that shop update. I am thinking of some other colors. This one, which I'm thinking of calling Natural Born Leader. And if I do more of this one will be called Holding the Vision. So you're just going to have to let me know if you like this one enough that you think I should include it on my in my shop. Same thing with this one. Let me know if you want to see this one in my shop as well, because that'll help me make that decision. So that's the shop updates. Cool. What else is going on? Let's see. I have been watching a little bit more streaming stuff on the internets. I have watched, I think, 3 seasons of The Shadowhunters on, I think it's on Hulu. Or is that on Amazon Prime? I don't remember. Anyway, The Shadowhunters, I've been watching that one. I think it's on Hulu. Really nice. I enjoyed the books, actually, quite a lot. And the series keeps pretty close. Not exact, but close enough to enjoy. And then Amazon Prime, and I'm really jazzed about this. Amazon Prime has come out with a series on the Wheel of Time, based on the novel series by, I believe it's Jim Jordan. I read these books several years ago. Found them extremely fascinating. A very good creation of a mythological world. So very cool, very interesting. The show, while it does take some liberties with the storyline, is very good for what it is. I'm enjoying it immensely, and I cannot wait for the next episodes. They dropped the first 3 episodes this past week. I've watched them twice. That's how much I enjoyed it. So yeah. So if you get a chance to, go catch Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. Okay, so before we call it a day, I do need to let you know of a new project and a new channel here on YouTube that I am involved with, and I am so excited about this venture. The channel is called Knittergy. It is the brainchild of Inbal Gross, who is a knitter and designer from Israel. She contacted me and a couple other wonderful fiber artists. The Duke of Nico, who is a wonderful knitwear designer who specializes primarily in double knitting. If you've not seen any of his work or don't follow him on Instagram, you definitely should. And the other wonderful fiber artist is Jen Lampen. She is also a knitter and knitwear designer, specializing primarily in brioche, which makes her extremely special in my book. So definitely check these folks out. I will put their Instagram links in the show notes. Go check out their individual pages, but definitely go check out Knittergy. It is a different kind of show. It is not your standard finished object, work in progress, acquisition type of format. But we definitely talk about aspects of knitting, design, dyeing, fiber arts in general, all around a given topic. So the first episode that is out is called Facing Your Fears. So it's all around talking about fear, talking about the fears that we face as knitters, as designers, as dyers. And then it also involves little activities and little games or discussion points that we have that then wind up with a challenge for us to create something for the next episode. So go check out Knittergy on YouTube. The first episode came out this past Saturday. It is was really quite a lot of fun to work with these folks. We're going to continue moving forward with our show. Please go check it out. And if you want, play along with our little game and come up with your own come up your own answer to our challenge. So yeah, that is so cool. So many things are going on. Hence why I've been so busy. So with that, I'm going to have to say that's a lot for this episode. So be sure to check out all the other content on this channel. Give me a shout out in the comments. Let me know what colorways you're liking from Mount Carmel Yarns. Help me out on that point if you could. So yeah, you can find my social media links in the show notes below for Facebook, Instagram, Ravelry, and all that. So thank you all so much for taking your time out to join me today. Whatever day it is you're joining me on, I hope you have enjoyed your this little romp that we have had this in this time. I'm beginning to ramble, so that tells me that it's time to stop. So thank you again for sharing your time with me. So with that, may you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Happy holidays.